We had the Who's on today at Rosehill. We've got very quickly before we get to the Rosehill meeting. Wednesday at out at the farm. It was a ghost town out at the farm on Wednesday. The track was good. The rail was normal. There was an easterly breeze blowing. No effect on any of the results. And look, I'd have to say there was no bias on the track. Maybe after I saw race 3 run, I wasn't convinced. Well, I said, wait there, maybe the inside's a little bit iffy here, but it turned out, because in race 3, a runner called Snow White came down the outside, but after that, it was evident that there was nothing wrong with the fence, and I'd say the track had no bias. We went to Gosford on Thursday. Gee whiz, the runners at Gosford on Thursday was a very poor meeting. 5 runners. Well, it's just like Rosehill today. It's a joke, isn't it? There's no runners anywhere. At Gosford on Thursday, 5 in the first, 7 in the next, 6 in the third, then 8, and then 8, and then 7, and then 8. Oh, we had 9. We had 7 runners in the last. And a lot of these runners wouldn't start if they didn't get the starters bonus, of course. They get the starters bonus, and that's the reason they start. If the TAB, it's all right for the TAB, I suppose, just handing over whatever this story is, agreement they've got with Racing New South Wales, the starters bonus. To get they suck it out of the mugs, of course, on the tab. They start them and get cash out of them, and then give them the starters bonus back, and it all goes round and around. But around and around, and down go nobody bets on the total. Once upon a time, what did they say? There'll be only like said years and years ago. It's been well quoted in the press 100 times. There'll only be 3 things left on the race course one day, and that'll be the shite houses. Now they will be there. The shite houses, they'll still be there. The tote houses, I'm not too sure about the tote houses. Even like at Rosehill today, all those windows out the back, there's only a few open. Even the tote houses. The tote houses, even these the provincial meetings, well, they're more or less non-existent, and in the city, and also the water houses. Well, the water houses are still there. The water houses will be there, the shite houses, but these tote houses, I don't know about that. He might be wrong, that bloke who said that. We got to this meeting at Rosehill today. Now, the track was good, the rail was normal. And the track, after we had a light shower before race 5, but then we had the storm came before race 6. They had 8 millimetres of rain in that storm, and they downgraded the track from a good 3 to a dead 4. But the wind was the factor. Very evident in the first race. It was a very, very strong nor'wester. And in the first race, I'd say, it was sort of 50 or 60 to 60 kilometres an hour. And unfortunately for favourite backers, the favourite Exosphere was taken straight to the lead by Father Schofield, and he ran into the gale. He finished up running last, beaten 4.6 lengths. The $1.70 Avery wasn't the place to be in that first race, racing into that win. And this race was won by the rank outsider. The 100 they returned, they said the best luck at SP was $81 single gaze. I was $101 when they jumped. I never wrote its name in the ledger. It was a skinner for the captains. Number one, well, the Stipe setter's got a bit of a funny action. They're going to let Gay have a look at it. It's near four-leg. It chased the favourite. It finished up and ran fourth, ran a fair race. But after jumping awkwardly and copping a bit of a check at the start, the winner, Single Gaze, who hails from Canberra, trialled at Canberra. It came from second last, and the wind factor kicked in, and it came down the outside and rounded them up. And the runner that ran second, beaten a length, went straight through on the fence after sitting in fourth position, Zulu Royal. So you've got to take that win into account when you do the form for the first. The second race, now I'd say that the wind had dropped by about, I'd say close to 20 kilometres. The second race, but it didn't stop the favourite Moa Halve with Confederate on its outside, racing into the wind. But as I say, it wasn't as strong as the first, and they didn't really go as fast as they did in the first. But this favourite was far superior, ridden by Winona Constant. She shook off Confederate after they turned for home. When they were at the 600 metre mark, they were a good 4 lengths in front of the rest of the other 4 runners, headed by Tiger by the tail. But the favourite won by 3.5 lengths, beating the runner that sat on his outside, Confederate, and coming from 4th into 3rd hole was Roden Drive. But the winner absolutely trotted him. They said the best luck was $1.90, but have your 10 to 9. It started evens on the fence. I gave evens in the outside ring. It started evens on the fence. So the fluck, you got flucked by the fluck. I'm only going to give you one set of prices here today, and that's in the last race. You won't believe what per we bet in the last. Anyway, race 3 came along, and in that, well, first of all, in the first race, we had a little bit of per up our sleeve, 106, a neat 100 in the second, the third race, 101. And this race was won by the favourite, the visitor from, well, now trained here by the Hawks team, our boy Malachi. It let Zaratone go straight to the lead, and they never went fast here. It was a stroll in the park up the front, and that's why they came home in 32.85. And also, very importantly, the wind, that's right, now there was a little bit of rain before this race as well, only dampened the dust, settled the dust, but the wind, if it was 60 kilometres an hour in the first race, it was only about 10 kilometres an hour in this race, so the wind had no effect at all in this on runners in this race. And as I say, Zaratone led, got away with a very easy lead, with the favourite sitting on its outside, led by 2. Then it was this was at the 600. Then it was another 2 lengths back to Agent, the stablemate of the favourite. Then another 3 lengths back to Scream Machine, and another 2 lengths back to Dance on Stars, and also Goldstone. The favourite sprinted too well for Zaratone, beat it by a length and a quarter, and it was 5.6 lengths back to Agent, the stablemate of the winner. A very easy win, but a very easy time up near the lead. Race 4, we only got 100 here, and there was a bit of lightning, and there was a delay in starting this race. The wind again picked up a little bit here. Now it might have been back up to about the 35 kilometre mark, and this was won by the Avery, beating the second favourite, Lucky Chappie, who they said they were going to ride closer today. They did, and the stablemate Dan Chai, they said they were going to ride it quieter, and they did. It went back to last. The stablemate led, but it ran along at a good pace. But the first and second favourites, who got good runs midfield in the field of 8, were a bit too strong for the others. It got slightly held up. Malice going for a split, and then the best case got to the outside and beat it by 0.8 of a length. And the leader stuck on fairly well. Lucky Chappie, beaten 3.1 lengths in the third hole. Race 5. We only got the neat 100 here, and the winner came from last, ridden by Father Schofield, Holy Delusions, who was resuming from a spell. He missed a kick by maybe a length, and then he straight over to behind the field and on the fence, and never went around a runner. Stayed on the 18 pence all the way, got up on the inside of them, and was able to win by 0.1 of a length, beating the leader, who was trained by I Own the Lead Gay, Exceline, and the runner that sat second looking at it was, it ran third, and that was Chatham House. The margins were 0.1 by 0.2, but this race, when they hit the line, there were the 9 runners, and there was only 2.1 lengths between the 9 of them. So, and the winner never went around a runner. If he had to come down the outside, he wouldn't have won. When I reprice these runners, I'll come up with some interesting prices. Race 6, here we only gave 98, and it was won by the favourite Fresnopol, who was early part of the race, the first three or four furlongs, was stuck out on a limb, but then got in. It led She's a Girl and ran along at a good bat. When they got to the 600, it was 2 lengths clear of Hunter Jack, and then it was another 3 lengths back to Duke Albert, and on its outside, by the time they got to the 600, was the favourite Fresnopol, and then it was another couple of lengths back to Alpha Beat, who ran beaten 20.8 lengths, so it dropped right out, and on its outside, All Cerise, the second favourite. But when they turned for home, the favourite Fresnopol sprinted up to the leaders, got clear, and coming off the back more or less of the second pick, All Cerise, was the second horse, Timeless Prince, and went out after the favourite, but couldn't catch it, and was beaten by 0.4 of a length. And the second pick, All Cerise, held on to third, beaten 2.9 lengths. That's about all you would say there. Shout to the Top was caught 3 wide in the run, and no more for the Avery. Those travelling phones will drive you mad, won't they? Who invented them? Shout to the Top. It was trapped 3 wide, but it wouldn't have won if it would have been on the fence. Race 7. Here we only got the neat 100 again, and we saw the stablemate the stablemates here, Fine Bubbles and Hera, trained by Chris Lees, fight this race out. It went straight to the lead. The Avery, Rare Fragrance. It was extremely hard to lay Rare Fragrance. I think the SP was, and the best luck, $2.70. Well, I was $3.20 when they jumped in the outside ring. A little bit of difference there. Went from $2.30 out to $3.20. The winner, Hera, at one stage was $5.50 out to $7, back into $6, Hera, but then got back out to $7 when they jumped, and it's at third on the fence, and the stablemate was on its outside. When they turned for home, the stablemate was able to get around a runner called Faust, who sat looking at the leader, Rare Fragrance and favourite, and it was dropping off coming to the turn. It sprinted up Fine Bubbles and got maybe 3/4 of a length clear. It was getting clear Hera, more or less only a half length behind Fine Bubbles, maybe at the furlong, a little bit before that, and it looked like Fine Bubbles was going to win without a shadow of a doubt, but the closer they got to the line, Hera fought on very strongly and was able to beat the stablemate by 4.4 of a length. The 3 kilos of T. Marshall, I think, had a lot to do with the winner getting home. Excuse me. And that was about the race. The favourite, who led, as I said, Rare Fragrance, it held on to third. The wind factor here was a very steady light breeze, no effect. And in the race prior to that, in race 6, there was no wind at all. It was practically a standstill, and in race 5, even the wind was very light as well. And then we got to race 8. The wind had picked up a little bit, but it was still not enough to affect the result, make a difference to the result of the race. It might have picked up to again maybe to a 15 to 20 km/h wind. And here we saw the opening favourite Shiraz give the captains a huge result. Don't worry about the SPs here when they said $4.20 Shiraz, $2.80 out to $5. I was $5 at the finish Shiraz. I did lay it at one stage at $3.20, but I was $5 when they jumped, and you couldn't give it away. Now these were the flux, and we only gave 87% in this race. Senator O'Shea went from $6 out to $10, back into $9, but back out to $11 at the finish of betting. Inside Job went from $6 out to $9, back into $8.50. Kadiro was 15 out to 21, back into 18. I laid it at $19, 18 to 1, but I was 21 again when they jumped. Charge account, now the best fluck, you got flucked if you backed charge account, best flucked, because they said the best flucked was $9.50. Well, I was $15 when they jumped. It was $8, but I did lay this runner at $10 for a good bit of section. But I was $15 when they jumped. And Costananti, now this runner was absolutely poleaxed in the betting. Opened up $8. I saw as much, which you wouldn't see, $13 given about this runner, but plenty of 10 and 11. And it only started a $5 chance, 4 to 1, equal second favourite. It started with the winner, Shiraz. Eye Striker was 50 out to 200. Master Stroke, now Master Stroke, who had every possible chance, was $7 out to $7.50 on the fence. It started $4.20 favourite, absolutely poleaxed in the betting. Shiraz, as I said, $2.80. I laid it. I don't know how I did at $3.20, but I did for a good bit of section. Started $5 on my board and other boards. Sweet Derrits as Serendipity was $13 out to $26. They made me wind it off at one stage into 21, but I was 26 again when they jumped. 50 Shades of Grey went from 21 out to 31, back into 26. And Tumult, you wouldn't see it, but $12 out to $15, and it only started about a 15 to 2 chance, or maybe $9, an 8 to 1 pop. We only got about 87. And here, as I said, it was a big result for the captains. It went straight to the lead, Sweet Serendipity, on its outside, Senator O'Shea. They were a couple of these clear of Charge Account on the fence behind it, and Kadiro on its outside. Then there was another break to Inside Job, who ran second, on its outside, a bit wide in Costananti. On the fence, Master Stroke, every chance, and on its outside, Shiraz. And then we had 50 Shade, Tumult behind them, and on the fence in second last position, Eye Striker, and 50 Shades of Grey on the outside of it. When they hit the line, there was only 4.9 lengths between them. The winner, ridden by Sean Geimer, went through the high diddle of them, not really, saved a bit of ground in between runners turning for home, and they didn't race tight at all in the straight. There were plenty of gaps if you were back in the field for runners to go through those gaps, and that's exactly what happened with the winner. There was a mile of room, and he sailed through, and he beat Inside Job, who had rounded the leaders up at around about the furlong pole and fought on very well, but Shiraz was a bit too strong and beat it by 0.8 of a length, and coming from, after racing a little bit wide on the outside of Inside Job, was in Costananti, and it was beaten 1.1 lengths in third hole, and coming from third last, right along the 18 pence was Tumult, and it ran fourth, only beaten 1.2. That was the meeting. There were, you might read about it in the press tomorrow. um, um, the, the clubs are going to have to do something about it, because all they just promote, come out here and come out here and pen and ink. Well, walking out of the joint today, there were bodies everywhere, and I mean bodies everywhere. There were. I hope these blokes are all right, because there was a lot of bloodshed there today after the last race, fisticuffs all over the pen and ink. It drives you absolutely insane. Can't you tell the staff promoting the races to come and bet at the races instead of coming out here and drinking? The Rosehill is becoming the betting ring at Rosehill. Like, you know, we know what a huge day it was in Melbourne today. You think you would get some punters there. The betting ring was an absolute ghost town. There are no grumble and grunters there at all. You just got Betfair crushers and the 15 or 20 regulars inside in the grandstands, as I keep on raving on about all the. That's where all there's plenty of punters in there, not out where we are. You know, I was trying to think of a comparison, as I say, when I was rambling on a bit there about the robots in the stands, and it made me think of the other day. I was saying, oh yes, it's just like, I remember you'd be playing cricket at school at lunchtime, and you go in and you bat, you get out, and next thing you know, we had to face the fast bowlers, of course, and when some good boys had to have their dig, it was their time to bat. They used to say, oh no, geez, I can't face this bloke, he'll kill me. He'll hit me straight to Niagara's and I'll never get up. Oh no, can you go in and bat for me? And you get the runs for me. You get the runs for me. You go in and bat and get as many runs as you, and all those runs that you get, they'll count for me. That's what we seem to be doing for these blokes who are sitting in these grandstands, but betting off the prices that we're putting together in the marketplace. We're actually batting for these blokes, and they're getting the runs. It's an absolute joke, as I keep on saying. And I don't want to even think about it. It drives me mad. As I say, you cannot have an agency unless you work in the main ring. The people, the committee and betting supervisors have got to, surely they realise that's the case. What am I? I'm talking. I'm wasting my breath. Good evening.